Welcome, everyone, to Talking with Tom and Jim, that show where we talk with Tom and Jim. Big
Hi, Jim.
surprise.
Hi. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Jim.
Tom Goldrup, Jim Goldrup above me.
And I'm Tom. Yeah, I'm Tom. He's Jim.
You're Tom.
Yes,
I'm Jim.
I think so.
Okay.
You must be because I'm Tom.
They are film historians. They have written 4 books on the golden age of Hollywood. Right up there in the corner, you can see 4 books on the golden age of Hollywood. They are actors, writers. They've traveled the world. They have so many things to say and talk about. So welcome, guys, once again to your show. So fun to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Next to me, as he often is, Matthew Rose. He is an actor, a producer. He has the craziest prop shop and builds the weirdest things. Can you please, you didn't build this, but even if he didn't build it, he has it on him. Can you show us the weird thing that you have at this moment?
It's a human head. It's a Slurpee drink. Free refills. I don't know.
No,
Not a sponsor.
Jim's just like, I'm with you, man. I got a normal little thermos thing. He's like, I got a human head.
Oh yeah.
A toast to everybody.
Toast to everybody.
Toast.
I don't know why that's so funny to me. So welcome everybody to the show. We are here today at my behest to talk about a film, and for once it's a film that I said, oh, this would be fun, let's talk about this, and Jim owned it. So Jim owned this movie on DVD. I did not know that at the time.
He has the whole Michael Shane, Lloyd Nolan Michael Shane collection.
Oh, that's so cool, because I went looking for that and I can't find it. So that's really cool. So we are here to talk about the 1941 movie Sleepers West, which is what I told Matthew. I said, it's not a great movie. It's just fun. It's just a fun movie. And so I had seen it and I thought, oh, this would be fun to just talk about on the show. And so that's why I brought it up. There's no deep personal connection or some long story I have about this film like I quite often do when we talk about some movie that I want us to see. Nothing like that. It's just a fun
Mary Beth Hughes, isn't it?
It has Mary Beth Hughes. That's very good. Make a heart. Matthew, can you make a heart for me? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It has Mary Beth Hughes in it, and she's great. We can get to that. A couple things. It's called Sleepers West, but it's based on the novel Sleepers East, which was written in 1933. But someone had made a movie based on that novel and called it Sleepers East about 10 years before, right when the novel came out. And so when they remade it in 41, they decided to call it Sleepers West to differentiate. So it's called Sleepers West, which makes sense because I believe they're going from Denver to San Francisco in the film.
Right.
Yeah, I have not read the book, but
A number of years later, they made a movie called what was it called?
Narrow Margin.
Narrow Margin, and it kind of had the same plot in a sense. I mean, the detective is on the bus with or on the train with the actress who is going out to testify to keep him safe from the people trying to kill her. And then a number of years later, a lot more recent, they made a remake of that one with Gene Hackman and Ann Archer, where he's trying to kill her on the train. So I think they got ideas from Sleepers West, although it's not an actual remake. It's the same plot.
Trains are such a neat device for drama and mystery and romance, just anything, right? If you think about some of the most, Murder on the Orient Express, duh,
Right.
That's the first thing you think of, I'm sure. But other films, the James Bond movie, the second one, From Russia with Love, if you remember the fight scene between the villain and Bond inside the railroad car, where there's no room to fight, and it's just this vicious hand-to-hand combat in close quarters. The Basil Rathbone Nigel Bruce movie that Matthew, I know we worked on. We didn't work on the film itself. We're not that old. And now for the life of me, I can't remember the name of that movie, but the one where they're on the train. It's such a neat device for intrigue. That's the best word I can think of. Intrigue.
Another film you probably never heard of. It was a B film, but it's a good one with a good cast. It's called Train to Alcatraz, about a trainload of prisoners being taken by train, obviously, to Alcatraz, and what happens on board. The whole movie takes place on board the train.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I imagine there's a whole subgenre, right, of train, train setting movies. And what I noticed about this one, about Sleepers West, over the Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes one, was that they rose to the challenge of how to make the shots interesting. In the Basil Rathbone, it was kind of squared on, and you're like, well, there's got to be a different shot of those seats that we can do. And in this one, Sleepers West, the cinematography never got boring. You're always changing cars, changing people, changing conversations, and you always knew where you were. So when you're stuck in the room with Mary Beth Hughes and the actor that plays a guy named Jace, you know where you are in that and where that conversation left off, and then you know where the detectives are. To me, that was extremely successful. And when I saw the Basil Rathbone, I always remembered that Sherlock Holmes. I know it'll be up in the fourth quadrant.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that
but
movie.
In Sherlock Holmes,
months working with that movie.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time with that movie, and I forget which Sherlock Holmes it was. But anyway, when I remember watching that Sherlock Holmes, thinking, well, how would you make interesting shots on a train? And I felt like Sleepers West really answers that question. They did a great job on that.
Another thing I liked about Sleepers West was the growing relationship between Mary Beth Hughes and Jace, who is the actor's Louis Jean Haidt, H-E-Y-D-T.
H-E-Y-D-T. Did anybody know how to pronounce that?
Do you know how to pronounce H-E-Y-D-T?
Hate or height or
anyway,
hide it.
No matter what we do, it's going to be wrong.
That grows between the two of them, from when he first comes in there and.
I'm sorry.
What do you want?
Nothing. It was an accident. I hope you'll excuse me. I'm sorry. I've had a couple of drinks.
Oh, wait a minute, mister. Have you got a match?
Yes.
I hate ringing for these porters. Mind closing the door? You sick?
No, why?
You look kind of pale. Maybe it's the binge.
I'm not really drunk. I've only had 2 sidecars.
Some guys get all the luck.
And then how it grows up to where they're going to run off together. But then in the end, she says, I'm going to San Francisco, not to South America. You go back to your family and your wife. I like the story between those two characters.
There's a great.
Yeah, I did too.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No.
Oh, I was gonna say I did too, because the actor or the character Jace has like 10 grand in his suitcase, so that looks a little kind of mysterious. What's his angle? He kind of stumbles into the room, and clearly Mary Beth's character has made some bad choices in her life. So you wonder if they're playing each other at first, and then you find out it's a really genuine relationship. Like it's how relationships start. I thought they did a great job in having that grow. That subplot works as a little story all by itself.
What would you do if you had your choice of anything in the world? Money, no objection.
I think I'd go away where there's a lot of sun and water and no cops.
You mean, like a tropical island?
It's a good idea. Why not?
And was rather tender. And then those decisions for him to go back to sort of too much peace and quiet, and for her to like do the tough thing, was a nice capper on that movie, right? I like that a lot.
I love the, and I don't want to give too much away as far as the mystery and whatnot, but there's that moral twist at the end. When you first meet Helen, Mary Beth Hughes' character, she wants a drink, right?
Yeah, right.
That's her goal. I want a drink. Like, I don't care about you. I don't care about anything. I can't believe I'm doing this. I want a drink. Don't harass me.
Say, how about bringing me a drink?
Not a chance. No, I can't be seen with you, so I'm not coming back. But I want you sober when we reach San Francisco.
Well, who said anything about getting drunk?
The people that she's surrounded with, the world that she lives in, is a very hard one, very difficult one, around criminals and gangsters and all you find out about this, but you know it right away just by her attitude and how.
Right.
But as the film goes on,
I got into this thing on account of his wife and kids. I want to see them get a break.
Why it's so important that she go to San Francisco, and that's when she turns a corner and says, you know what, you're right. And not only does she set things right for her, she sets things right for Jace.
Jace, he's right. I've got to go back and clear Callahan. I've tried to run away from trouble lots of times, but I never could make it. No matter where I'd go, it'd always be after me. And I'd be dragging you along. You'd be worried and not happy. Not really happy.
Oh, yes, I would.
Listen, honey. I want you to go back to Avondale.
Helen.
I mean it, Jace. Oh, it'll always be part of you. Go back to your comfort and security.
The character we knew at the beginning of the film would never have said, go back to your wife, I'm going to go to San Francisco.
Right.
If you think about the other side of that, the choice she has to run away with this guy she obviously is falling in love with and has all the money in the world and can just go start a new life. How hard is that to turn away?
Right.
Because it's not right. And so, yeah, I just thought that was a neat.
I agree, and it was unexpected. There's a lot of characters in this movie, and that's always enjoyable, I think. And other than there's like a trained detective, and then there's like a shady sort of not a hitman, but a sort of a fixer guy. Those two are definitely not going to have a character arc, right? They're going to be them, right? They're a thing. And I wondered about what's Mary Beth's character name? Helen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Helen could be a one-note character as well. It could be I this one thing. I'm going to do this one thing. And what a cool. She had the greatest character arc of everybody, right? She had the biggest change, and that was unexpected for me, especially for a 1941, detective thriller mystery train thing. You didn't expect that level of substance in it, so that was really enjoyable to me.
And I have to add that I've always enjoyed Lloyd Nolan.
Yes.
He had a long career. He played a lot of bad guys and he played good guys. And I've always enjoyed Lloyd Nolan. He had a long career from the 30s to the 70s, probably.
I like his sense of humor, too, that he brings to here.
Yeah, his career went through the mid-'80s. In fact, his last film came out posthumously. So he filmed it. He passed away in 85. They finished filming, I think, in 84. And the film, I don't remember its name, but the last film was released in 86. So he had a lifelong career, which is amazing. And he's so genuine. Like, I really liked, he plays wit really well, and he plays subtext really, really well.
Are you checking in or out?
Out. It's going back on number 10.
Oh, that's fine. You wouldn't even have called me.
Well, I was just going to.
When?
Well, the train doesn't leave for 4 minutes.
You haven't worked.
Lynn Berry.
Lynn Berry. Yeah, and so she plays, a reporter trying to get the scoop.
Right.
And she's under the impression that there's somebody else in Michael Shane's car or whatever. Yeah. And so he realizes that.
Oh, I did see a tall, dark girl with rather fuller brush eyelashes right down by the water cooler.
Oh, no, this one's sort of blonde. She's an old schoolmate of mine, grammar school.
I haven't seen any old girls.
Well, she's not old. About my age.
And still going to grammar school. She must be rather mentally round-shouldered.
So he plays that up really, really well without mugging to the camera or anything like that. And so he baits her really well on that. That scene to me is, if two people wanted to audition for a movie and that's a good scene for two people to play off of each other.
No, I need some water.
Oh, no, I'll get the
all
water.
right, I can
No,
get it.
I'll get
no,
the
really,
water.
Thank you.
Well, all right, if you insist.
Their relationship reminded me of His Girl Friday. Just the gender, the two people that you know that there's an attraction, but they're also enemies in ways. Like, you know, they're opposites. They're on opposite sides of what's going on. But in a fun way. You know, there's no hatred or anger there. It's just, okay, the game is on. But you can tell that they really care about each other all at the same time. So it had all these elements from His Girl Friday. What I mean, the Cary Grant's Rosalind Russell film. It reminded me a lot of that. Their relationship reminded me, not the plot, but just, you know, their give and take reminded me a lot of that. The other thing that I would add is that, and this is just me, like, you guys all know Juliet, you know, our friend Juliet, who has also worked on this show periodically. I get this sick pleasure when I see something in a film that would offend Juliet. Like, I would never show her because that's mean, but just to imagine in my head how she would react. And it was the scene where Lynn Barry is going to try to get up into the upper berth to find the stowaway.
Yeah.
And she gets stuck.
Porter!
Well, Irma.
And it's such you know, it's a scene of its day, right? Like, so I'm not going to judge it and say, oh, this is like so sexist. I will say that it would never be made today. That scene would not exist in any film that anyone would make now, because you know, people would get offended over, you know, that. But I found it. I mean, I genuinely like laughed at the scene for itself, but even more so just imagining, oh, if Juliet were sitting here watching this right now, I would think that's
another thing.
Like, oh, I'm a woman, I can't do this, and I'm balancing on the thing. Like, oh my gosh.
Another thing that wouldn't be done in films anymore today are the caricatures of Ben Carter and Mantan Moreland. You know, the porters.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. But it works in the old films. It works. You know.
Very Amos and Andy-esque.
Right. It was dangerously close to like kind of over the top buffoonery type stuff, and you know, and those the characters even the characters as they're written were like comedic asides, you know, and but I would say even those jokes like landed like.
He must be one of them Wall Street typhoons.
From the way that money flew, he's the whole hurricane.
Like it was solid. Like the pacing and timing on that joke was solid. It worked. You can see somebody saying it today, but there was a caricature thing going on there that was, you know, a thing of its time.
Yeah. And the other thing about the film, like from a script standpoint, is it did build. It, you know, it was very well thought out.
Yes.
You know, like I think at the first half of the film, when it kept cutting to the engineers.
Hey, Ray, if you keep this up, you'll be getting more than a watch. They'll be picking you for a wooden suit. And an extra pair of pants for you, Spurt. You keep that shovel moving, or I'll wrap it around your neck.
My last run. I'm going to be there on time.
Yeah. They had a gold watch waiting for him at the end, and so he's got to make it on time. I love that subplot. Like, those guys don't care about what's going on in the train at all. He just wants to make up 20 minutes. And the pilot, whatever it is, co-engineer up there says something like, "Hey, listen, they're not just going to get you a gold watch. They're going to fit you for a pine box or a pine suit or whatever." And the crotchety old guy says, "Oh yeah, we'll get you a new pair of pants, you squirt. So you quit piddling your pants." Basically, is what the guy's saying. So quick, I really like that subplot too, and it came into play because they were banking the turn so much that's what threw Jace into the cabin. So it had an impact, and then they wind up crashing due to nothing, not even his own wife. Spoil it. Plot spoilers, or whatever they call them.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, it's so well thought out. Like, the script was so well planned out. This unrelated thing suddenly throws a spin into the main plot because of whatever, the Jace getting thrown into the car because they're taking the tight turn, or And at the very beginning, I'm like, why are we watching these guys? Why are we clipping to these guys? Because films of the time, not all, but most, were not that well thought out. And so I kept wondering, like, why are we clipping to these guys? And then you realize, oh my gosh, they're not associated with anyone, but the things they do suddenly affect everyone.
Affected everybody else. Yeah. I thought that too. When I first saw them, I thought, oh, these are going to be like, they're padding the film a little bit. They're going to have these comedic, throwaway characters or whatever. But I was impressed by that. There's not a wasted word in this film. There's not a wasted frame in this film. It's just very crisp and witty. And I felt like the jokes landed. I watched it again today, and I laughed out loud again at it, like, knowing the jokes were coming. There's one where Lynn Barry says, well, I think about myself. I think her name is Kate in the movie, and I think, or Kay, something like that, Kate or Kate. So I just think about Kate, and then she talks about a case that she cracked wide open. And then Michael Shane says something like, "Yeah, but then he walked away with your purse."
I didn't do so bad 2 years ago when I started the ball rolling that got Taggart acquitted of the Globe Diamond robbery, did I?
Yeah, I'll say you did. Then when he came to your office to thank you, he walked out with your purse.
There wasn't much in it.
And she goes, "There wasn't much in it." And it's just this tiny throwaway line. The other guy's already starting his line already. So I don't know whether that was scripted or whether she needed a capper there. But it's because she doesn't say it at like actor's volume. It kind of goes down. It's like, oh, there wasn't much in it. Like, it hits really fast, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, she knew Mike was going to bring it up, right? That the purse was gone. Anyway, I like that stuff. It's a movie that's easy to watch 2 or 3 times, I think. Yeah.
And the whole series, the whole Michael Shane series they're all fun.
They're fun films.
They're all fun films.
What else?
How many are in the set?
Go ahead.
Well, how many are in there? You have 2 sets.
No, I don't have this.
Well, you have 2 that have Michael Shane movies on it, right?
I got.
I think there were 10.
I think there were 6 films altogether.
Yes, there's 4 on the set that has Sleepers West.
Yeah, and then there's 2. I have 2 other ones. One myself, just off Broadway, and another one called Dress to Kill.
Same as Sherlock Holmes.
and as a huge fan of the Basil Rathbone Holmes movies, one of the things I loved the most about those movies is that you see it was a repertoire company, and so you see the same actors coming up, in every film playing different roles. And the Michael Shane ones, at least the ones I've seen, are the same way, but they're so much better. The 2 actors who play the porters, and you said their names and I forgot.
Dan Moreland and Ben Carter. Yeah.
They're in the other films too, in different roles.
Oh, yeah.
And Mary Beth Hughes, there's one where she's a victim. There's one where now she's on the train. There's one where she's his girlfriend and they're trying to get married. So it just it has a lot of the same people in it, and Lloyd Nolan and Lynn Barry, they did several movies together, not just the Shane ones, but they did other movies together as well, which I have not seen, but I was looking into it.
Well, they had really solid chemistry. I could see
Yeah.
cast, like, it would be easy to cast them in something because you know what you're going to get. You're going to get some really nice, beautiful chemistry, from them. I read that there was 12 Michael Shane films starring Lloyd, Nolan, and then they were continued with Hugh Beaumont.
Yeah, Hugh
playing that
Beaumont.
character.
Yeah, I have those too.
You have those too?
Yeah, I have Hugh Beaumont.
It was just such a neat find, and the only reason I saw it was because there you go, Beaumont ones, yeah.
And these are 4 Michael Shane mysteries.
Oh, cool.
Fun.
Yeah.
And
And
they
I
got
I wouldn't have found these without trying to figure out films to watch with Mary Beth Hughes in it. And so it just kind of just opened up this whole realm of these, like, whoa, this is really cool. As someone who likes films from the 40s and likes detective mysteries, how I missed this is mind-boggling to me.
I was surprised by that too. I never heard of these.
There's another series back in the 40s that was fun. It had humor, but the humor worked. Is Chester Morris playing Boston Blackie? They did about 7 or 8 films.
At least 8. At least 8.
Wow. They were fun ones.
They were fun.
Too.
So I have an apology to make to actress Virginia Mayo, because when I was getting ready for this, I realized that I have to admit publicly that Virginia Mayo is no longer my favorite actress of all time. I honestly believe that has to go now to Mary Beth Hughes.
Oh wow!
Virginia Mayo.
Oh, go ahead, say that, Tom.
Virginia Mayo slipped out of being #1.
Yeah, she's number 2.
She's 2.
Mary Beth Hughes is #1 now.
Yeah, I just, whenever she's on screen, I could just sit there. It doesn't matter if the movie's bad. I could just sit there and watch it. The first film I ever saw her in was I Accused My Parents, which is a terrible film.
Yeah.
Which one?
I Accused My Parents. Yeah.
Oh.
But I love watching her. And like a movie like Sleepers West, it's just an amazing bonus that the movie's very good, and it has her in it. Like,
and she had a lot to do in it. It was a nice role where, there was a lot that was asked of her as an actor that she delivered on. It wasn't. It had to have been, I think, a challenge to do that, to do her role. I would think. Just playing that kind of narcissistic at the beginning, and then gradually, not having like this huge epiphany, but gradually. Kind of seeing what's going on there. I think that's hard to do, especially I'm sure they don't film it in order and all that. So she has to figure out where her character is at that point. She did a great job. There was a lot on her shoulders. In fact, I would say that she's the heart of that particular story. And I also like, we talked about the Porters a little bit. So the Porters, there's like another subplot of the suitcase full of money.
Folks ain't got no business being so careless with the blessings of life. Must be $5,000 or $10,000. Maybe 15.
And then there's some question. There's some question as to how much money's in there, and that incrementally goes up.
Right. And Leander said it was $50,000 or maybe $60,000. Wow.
Because the story gets juicier as it goes along. And so that's its own, that works great all by itself as a funny, that should be in other movies. That's sort of like this thing where the excitement about what happened is getting further and further from the truth.
But George told me that Henry told him that Leander seen it with his own eyes. Is that so? His suitcase was just a busting with money. No clothes, just greenback. There's at least a couple of $100,000.
Yeah.
The other thing I loved about the film was the ending. So like most of the time with a film like this, when the train is done, you're done. Like the film ends when the train ride ends. And in this one, it ends months later in a restaurant.
Hey, service. Service.
I'm going to have the New England dinner, and the young lady will have the number 5 special with all the trimmings.
And plenty of onions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Miss Bentley.
Helen.
Hello.
What do you do? Mike, you didn't...
Oh, I forgot to tell you that she was working here.
Right. You didn't necessarily need that and that sort of little after story. Like after the headlines fly out and you find out what happened, how everything played out, okay, great. And then to me, it was like a love note. To me, it was like, here's people who like writing and like filmmaking and like the genre. They want to do a good job. And you're right, that cafe scene, to me, it was like, oh, that's film from people who love making films. They wanted to do a good job. And like you said, put a bow on it to me.
Oh, look. Do you have to have those onions? Huh?
Oh, Mike, is that all you're worried about?
I can't help it.
Well, I'll fix that.
Ah, it's a pal.
Helen, would you please cancel those onions?
Cancel. Kill 'em.
I'd much rather have garlic.
Yeah, give her